Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 2. When we last left off, we were about to build a city right there where the settlers are standing. So let's order them to build a new city. This city will be called Lucerne. And I think the English spelling is something like this. But I will use the German spelling instead. And this is city number 3. Okay, cool. Lucerne founded 3300 BC. Okay, we'll be building the warriors first. I just want to check how many trade... Wow, 4 trade arrows from these squares. Okay, I definitely want to build the warriors first. So let's do that. And then we'll start mining or working on these tiles as well, because this will give us an incredible amount of trade, which gives us revenue and science output as well. Okay, and just like in every episode, we want to discuss or consult our High Council first. So, what can you tell me?
Give me more soldiers, noble leader, that they may sheathe their swords in the beating hearts of our enemies!
Still the same?
All is well, Your Excellency. I am off to grease my abacus.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
Oh yeah, Why don't you discover currency then? Well, I am doing that.
Excellency, let us make currency instead of swords, for it is wealth that moves the world, and profit that rules it.
My talents go to waste, noble leader. Let us send forth our explorers to find other nations.
I concur, Your Majesty.
Okay, so we are doing well with the science advisor. The rest is still not very happy with us. But we are discovering the currency. We are exploring, no matter what you say, lady. And we will not concentrate on military power at the beginning of the game. We will invest our efforts into some other things. Okay, let's move there. Let's move left here as well. And I think in the next turn, the city of Zurich will actually grow. Yes, they will. But we have a unit there, so it's not a problem. We have 3 cities already. That's quite cool. And 2 units, that's fine. I think we can end our turn now without problems. Actually, I found out that there is something called game concepts in Civilopedia. And I would like to read that for you, because the explanation will probably be better than what I can tell you myself. It will be short and concise probably. So we are not interested in air bases, in airlifts, but we are interested in city squares, because I will skip the things which are not relevant for our civilization just yet. So let's have a look. The resources utilized by a city are not only generated in the square surrounding the city, they are also generated by the city square itself. A city square generates all the resources normally produced by the terrain type on which the city is built. In addition, the terrain square occupied by the city is improved to the maximum extent possible. The city square automatically contains a road, which is upgraded to a railroad when the railroad advance is discovered. The city square is also automatically irrigated or mined, depending on the type of terrain. Finally, if the city is built on terrain that normally produces no shields, 1 shield is automatically added to the other resources generated in the city square. These enhancements ensure that the city square produces the maximum amount of resources possible. Yeah, that's good, because if we build a city somewhere where it doesn't have good resources, it would probably never grow. Good. Combat damage, we didn't do any combat yet, so let's skip that. Corruption and waste. As your civilization grows, you might notice that some of your cities are losing some of their trade and shields to corruption and waste. Corruption is trade income that is lost to theft, embezzlement and other illegal practices. Waste is shield production that is lost to inefficiency. The farther a city is from your capital, the more corruption and waste it experiences. the amount of corruption and waste is also affected by the system of government you are using. Corruption and waste, if left unchecked, can significantly slow the development of your civilization. Both corruption and waste can be reduced by 50% by building a courthouse in the city experiencing the problem. The best solution, however, is to switch your system of government to a more advanced form. The more advanced the government, the less corruption and waste you experience. Communism and democracy alleviate this problem altogether. So we have switched to monarchy to alleviate this problem, and we also have built our capital in the middle. So not Zurich, but Bern somewhere over here is our capital, and now Lucerne and Zurich both profit from being close to the capital. Okay, disband, fortify, fortress, irrigation, luxuries, let's say. The provision of luxuries for your citizens is indicated by the goblet icons in the resource box of the city display. Each 2 luxuries make one content citizen happy or one unhappy citizen content. The amount of luxuries a city produces is mainly determined by the percentage of trade you have allocated to luxuries. This can be adjusted using the Change Tax Rate command on the Kingdom menu. A city's luxuries can be increased by building certain city improvements and wonders of the world, and by converting citizens into entertainers. I will show you how to convert citizens to entertainers much later. We'll build some wonders of the world as well, and we will not change the tax rate very soon because we don't have a need for luxuries just yet. We can make our citizens content by either applying martial law or by building temples, so we will not need the luxuries for quite some time, but it's nice to know that it helps as well. Then mining, pillage, pollution, let's have a look at roads later as well, science. The amount of scientific research contributed by a city is indicated by the beakers icons shown in the resource chart of the city display. At the start of each term, the science output of each city is added to the research project currently in progress, eventually resulting in the discovery of a new civilization advance. The more beakers each city produces, the faster new advances are discovered. The amount of science produced by your civilization is primarily determined by the amount of incoming trade you have allocated to science. This percentage can be adjusted by selecting Change Tax Rate command on the Kingdom menu. Now I have to tell you, if you are new to this game, trade is the most important thing in this game, because it affects almost everything else. So if you have made a mistake, just like me many years ago, that you thought, okay, I will concentrate on research and forget about the trade completely, that's completely wrong. You have to concentrate on trade because that directly implies how your research will be doing. The science output of individual cities and your civilization as a whole can also be increased by building certain city improvements and wonders of the world, or by converting citizens into scientists. We'll eventually do that as well, but not for many years. Sentry shields, let's have a look at that. The production of raw materials by your cities is represented by shield icons. Thus, raw materials are commonly referred to as shields. The number of shields produced by each city is displayed in the resource chart of the city display. Shields are used to support units. Each unit might, depending on government type and other circumstances, require that its home city expend 1 shield per turn to support the unit. Excess shields not used to support units are used for the production of city improvements, wonders of the world, and new units. Shield production largely depends on the type of terrain surrounding the city. In most circumstances, shield production of a city can be increased through the construction of certain improvements and wonders. The construction of mines also improves shield production in certain types of terrain. Okay, we are almost through this. Let's have a look at taxes as well. The taxes collected by a city are indicated by gold coin icons in the resource chart of the city display. Taxes are used primarily to pay the maintenance cost of city improvements each turn. Any tax revenues not used for maintenance of improvements are added to your treasury. The amount of taxes generated by the city is primarily determined by the amount of incoming trade you have allocated to taxes. This can be adjusted by selecting the Change Tax Rate option from the Kingdom menu. Tax revenues can also be increased through the construction of certain improvements and wonders, or by converting citizens into taxmen. I will show you how to do that also later on. But basically, you have to pay the maintenance costs for your city improvements, and that's what we will basically do with our gold. We will not accumulate too much gold at the beginning. We will try to keep the tax rate at minimum and concentrate on the science, but eventually we'll need to gain more gold as well, and we'll have the option either to change the tax rate here or to convert citizens into taxmen, and many other options like trade by caravans and so on and so on. We'll get to that later. Trade is the most important thing, so let's read about that as well. Trade represents more than just the exchange of goods and cash between cities and civilizations. Trade also represents the exchange of knowledge and ideas, and the recreational travel and activities of the citizens of your civilization. The total amount of trade produced by each city is represented by double arrow icons displayed in the resource chart of the city display. Trade is then broken down into 3 separate components: taxes, luxuries, and science. The amount of trade allocated to each of these areas is controlled by selecting the Change Tax Rate option in the Kingdom menu. Trade can be increased through the construction of certain city improvements and wonders. It can also be increased through terrain improvements and through the establishment of trade routes. Yeah, we'll start improving the terrain and establishing the trade routes quite early, but not just yet. And I think the last thing we want to have a look at is the unhappiness due to civilization size. Once you have built a certain number of cities, your citizens start to worry about your ability to effectively govern your civilization. When this occurs, additional unhappy citizens appear in the city. The number of in each city. The number of cities you can build before causing additional unhappiness is based on a number of factors, including game difficulty, level, and government type. The number of cities is higher for more advanced governments and lower levels of difficulty. I think on the difficulty we are playing on, the most difficult one, the hardest one, the limit is I think 4 cities for despotism, 6 cities for monarchy, 8 for the Republic, and 10 for communism and democracy. I think that's it. So under monarchy I will build 6 cities, and then I will have to improve my cities, probably build some wonders before we continue to build more cities. Otherwise we would have trouble with unhappiness. Okay, but enough of the game concepts. I actually spent half of the episode just reading this, but I do want to read all of this for you, and we'll eventually go through all the entries in the Civilopedia. I hope that's not boring. It's certainly interesting for me because I have never read this myself, and I do want to read more about it, especially about the historical background of things like silk, for example, which we have read in the previous episode. But now, enough talking, let's do some exploration. First, end our turn. Okay, we can build a better carpet, for example. And the Swiss wise man discovered the secret of bronze working. So we have more things to read about. It allows us to build phalanxes, which are an excellent defending unit. And we will build a lot of phalanxes later on. But first, let's read something about the bronze working. By the way, it also allows us to build a wonder of the world called the Colossus, and allows other civilization advances. Okay. The description is not so long. Evidence of the use of bronze, an alloy of copper and tin, dates back to Thailand in, 4,500 BC. That's really old. Several hundred years later, bronze working was discovered in the Middle East. Artifacts from this period show that bronze was initially used for decorative purposes only. This is because tin was not readily available. It wasn't until approximately 2000 BC, when tin was regularly imported from neighboring regions, that bronze replaced copper in the construction of larger items. Bronze was harder and less brittle than copper, and it held a sharper edge. Tools, weapons, and armor made from bronze were also cheaper to produce and more durable. The period of time when bronze was the metal of choice for such items was known as the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age lasted until ironworking became prevalent in approximately 1200 BC. That is really interesting. Okay, so we can now discover currency as the trade advisor wanted us to do. So let's do that. Yeah, okay. And I think it's time to start moving with the archers. Let's go left. And with this one up. And we need more units to explore, because we are doing this quite slowly. Unfortunately, we didn't get too many units from the goodie huts, and there are not any goodie huts left, so I guess it will have to do. Okay. It still costs a lot to build the settlers. In Bern it costs also a lot, and in Lucerne we are doing the warriors. That's fine. Let's end the turn now. And with these archers we should go and explore more terrain to the left, I think. With you upwards. Ooh, and there are whales over here. Excellent. So this square over here has access to whales, has access to buffaloes. Unfortunately, it doesn't have access to pheasants, but it's still a good place to build a city because it's on the river and with two special resources. So my next city will probably be right there. Yeah, I think it will be right there. Okay. Let's check the cities. Everything seems okay. And the turn. How are we doing with the science? Discoveries every 4 turns. That's fine. So we'll discover currency quite soon. Let's go up. End the turn again. And go up. Go up. Okay. We have explored the large part of our territory already. And now I think I need to start moving farther and finally discover some other civilization, because I'm here quite alone, and I will go probably right with this archer and left with this one. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Swiss wise man discovered the secret of currency. Excellent. It allows us to build marketplaces. That's cool. And some other advances as well. Let's have a look what they have to say about the currency. I guess that's a very important marker in the human history. As cities grew, their internal economies became more complicated. People became specialists, some primarily producing grain, some pottery, some bricks, and so on. The system of barter developed so that one individual's wares and services could be exchanged for those of another. Gold and silver were widely used in such transactions, but the pieces needed to be weighted and tested for purity each time they changed hands. In 600 BC, the Lydians found a way around this problem. They began to practice of shaping electrum, an alloy of gold and silver, into pieces of predetermined weight and purity, stamped with an official symbol. This idea caught on, and within 50 years all the important trading centers of the world had adopted similar practices. The widespread use of currency created universal standards of value, allowing people from various societies to conduct business almost anywhere without being forced to bring along bulky goods for trade and barter. Yeah, and that's how we got our currency. Okay, we want to research the trade so that we can build caravans and a wonder of the world called Marco Polo's Embassy. And because we haven't discovered any civilization yet, we'll probably also build the Marco Polo's Embassy, because this wonder of the world actually enables us to make contact with all the civilizations for free. Okay, Lucerne has built some unit, and now we would like to build settlers. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so more settlers are on the way. In Bern, we could actually build the settlers now, but I'm not sure if that's such a good idea. It will take 3 more turns, and it costs only 16 gold now. So let's complete the settlers in Zurich right now. And in the next turn, the city will build the settlers and decrease in size. But I will show you that in the next episode, because it has been over 20 minutes of recording already. So I need to stop here and say bye-bye. See you next time.